premise was very simple. He basically said, it's actually easier to be cynical. It's actually easier when you open up the newspapers and you watch television and you read about war and poverty and injustice to say to yourself, that's the world as it is. It can't change. There's nothing we can do about it. The best we can do is to try to protect ourselves from this tough world out there, to withdraw into our own private lives, to make sure that our immediate families are protected, that we've got a barrier between us and other people. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. He said what's hard, what's difficult, what's challenging, what requires boldness and risk and audacity is to hope. To recognize that the world as we see it before us is not the world as it has to be. That in fact, if we recognize in each other that we have a stake in our mutual well-being, if we have the idea that we have mutual responsibility towards each other, that things can change. And I love that idea. I love that idea not only in my own life, because the basic idea was not that you ignore problems. You don't pretend that poverty doesn't exist or that we don't have problems around the world. You face them squarely, but then you still believe that you can do something about it. I love that for myself. It helped motivate me, but also because I think it described something about the American character. Because the essence of the American character has been this audacity to hope. You think about 13 little colonies getting together and deciding somehow we're going to defeat the greatest naval power on earth. And then not only are we going to do that, but we're actually going to start a whole new form of government that's never been tried before. By, of, and for the people. And then it turns out that in that charter is the original stain of slavery, and yet people have the audacity to say, well, we don't have to stand for that. And so abolitionists, and then a civil war comes, and Abraham Lincoln signs the Emancipation Proclamation, and for another 100 years, people are marching and singing and organizing until finally people are included in that political community. And women, they turn around and they say, well, how come we can't vote? Why aren't we participating? We know we're smarter than men, and so they get organized and they get mobilized and they insist on being full partners in the creation of this nation. And immigrants decide, you know what, we don't know what's going on crazy over there, but we're going to try. We're going to take ships and boats and we're going to go to this new land. Because we're audacious enough to think we can do better for our children and our grandchildren. And then even though this country has been built on business and entrepreneurship and self-reliance, folks start noticing, sometimes the workers aren't getting such a good deal. So maybe we might need to let them organize unions so that they can get minimum wages and benefits and health care and pensions. And so this idea that we can always make it a little bit better. If we put our shoulder behind the wheel, that's been essential to this country, it's been essential to Rhode Island. That's how we've made progress, each and every generation. And here's the thing, it's not unique to the Democratic Party, that idea. Look, I come from the land of Lincoln. There have been times where Republicans have joined in this march for progress. But I would say that at least since FDR, it's been this idea that we can remake America and we can capture that better energy, that better sense of who we are. That's been at the core of the Democratic Party, which is why we looked and said, FDR was able to look around and say we've got 1/3 of the nation that's ill-housed and ill-clothed and ill-fed. Why can't we begin Social Security to lift seniors out of poverty? And after we defeat fascism, why don't we make sure through the GI Bill that every single young person has access to a college education? Why can't we do something like that? Which is the same spirit that Harry Truman had, and the same spirit that John Kennedy had, the same spirit that Bill Clinton had, the same spirit